Okay, hi everybody. My name is Tessa Rose, and I am the social media and community coordinator for Two Bright Lights. And I'm super excited to join you guys today for our new user webinar. As I mentioned in the chat, and I know we sent out a alert reminder to everybody who registered, we are experiencing some kind of glitch with Webinar Jam, unfortunately. But don't worry, the video is still live. It's going to be streaming on YouTube. So when you do log in and start the webinar, you'll be redirected to a link to YouTube. Click on that link and you'll be able to see everything that I'll be doing today during the webinar. And just like it normally would function, you can still submit your questions rather in the chat function. So if you find that you have a question or want me to clarify on something further, just go back to your Webinar Jam page and type in the question and I will answer it during our breaks. So like I said, my name is Tessa and I'm super excited to join you here today for this new user webinar. We'll be going over everything from album creation to submission, and I'll try to give you as many tips and tricks as I can along the way on how to really get the most out of your submissions through Two Bright Lights. So just as a recap, why are you guys here? Why is getting published so important? Well, getting published really is one of the most cost-effective ways to get your work out there in front of those couples that are planning their big day. 80% of brides and grooms that are currently in the process of planning their wedding want to see more real weddings. So the content for weddings has really just exploded over the last 10 years. And this is a great opportunity for you all to get your stuff published, get in front of those brides and grooms and show them the types of work that you could be doing for them and booking those clients. So let's get started. I'll start with the album creation process and I will begin by sharing my screen. Okay. Go here. All right, so this is when you log in, this is kind of the home screen, and you can navigate everything from this page. To be able to start building your albums, we'll start on the Albums tab, so just go up to the top left corner and hit Albums. And you'll be able to see all of our albums that are in here. This is our test account, so it looks a little funny, but this is where you begin to start your albums and create the albums. So hit the Create Album button. And so the first step in the process is specifying which type of event that you are uploading for your album. So we have many different categories. We have weddings, engagements, family, parties, and lifestyle. So for today, I'm going to hit weddings, and I'm going to hit wedding day, but as you can see, there's other subcategories that are great to choose from. So here you choose if it's real or styled. So obviously a real wedding would be a wedding that took place and was an actual event. A styled wedding is a styled shoot. So if it was something that you work with vendors to coordinate and make a shoot for a publication or just to help showcase your work, you would choose styled. So today I'm going to pick real. Then you enter in as much information as you can about the album. So we'll start with names. Okay. Event date. So I'll just say it was August 1st. And then I will say Boston, just for the heck of it. Okay. And here you'll enter in your descriptive title. So this is a really important piece of the album. It's one of the first things that the potential publication will be viewing for your album. So you do want to make it as descriptive as possible without it being too long or too short. So for example, I'll say it was a Cape Cod wedding. I can say that it was a summer beach Cape Cod wedding. So, it gives a little snapshot. It was in the summer, it was on the beach, and it was at Cape Cod. So that way it helps the publication know, is this something that I actually want to look at, or is it something that I can know right off the bat isn't a fit for my publication? So descriptive title is important, and even more important is the information that you include in the album story. this is the section where you include as many details as you can about the album. So you want to include how the couple met, how did the bride pick out her wedding gown, was there a recent family member that passed away and they did a couple of different important things in the ceremony or the reception to in memory of that person. Those important details that really help the editor write their feature and just make your album stand out. We always say that photos are great, they're one thing, but you also want that album story, that great story, to go along with those great photos to have just a knockout submission. So right now we don't have to include that. You can include that later on in the process, but this is where you would include those important details in the album story. So I'm gonna hit next. And here's where you can add your venue and tag your vendors. So for the purposes today, I'll hit private residence, but what you can do is search in the search bar. So let's hit Boston. Let me hit Massachusetts, that would help. Okay, and as you can see, a lot of different venues come up. So I'll just hit the public library and it went up here on the vendors and venues section. So that's an example. Just hit private residence for now, so it's a little easier. And then same for vendors. So just search in that toolbar and then hit the magnifying glass and they will pull below. So I will do it again. Okay. So I'll pick Evelyn's Bakery, hit the check mark, and add selected venues, and it added it up top here. So say that you're looking for a venue or a vendor and it didn't show up. It's not in our database, no one's used it in the past. You can add it by hitting create a new vendor. And here you'll input all of their important information. So you'll select the vendor type. So if it was a bakery, you'll enter in their business name, their contact name if you have it, their web address, email, city, and country. So those are the only important parts, the city, country, and business name and vendor type. But the more information that you can fill in, the better. So vendors and venue, these are important tags. Obviously, the venue is pretty important. It shows where the wedding was. But your vendors is something to not overlook. Editors love seeing vendor tags, and it's really important to give credit where credit's due for the people that you worked with for a certain event. Editors say that they like to see 5 to 7 vendor tags per album. So the more that you can tag, the better. And when we say the more, we even include what's the designer of the bridal gown, the shoes, the jewelry, makeup, hair, cake, florist, all of those elements are really important, and just add more information to your album and submission, and really will help make it stand out to those editors. So besides venue and vendors, over here we have a tool for Shoot Queue and Ask Client for Help. So Shoot Queue, this is a chance for you to connect to Shoot Queue if you have an account and have already put input all that information, through Shoot Queue. You can hit on that button, log in, and all of that info will transfer over. For Ask Client for Help, if you click on that button, you will see that you can fill out a request form and send it to anybody that you think would be able to help you fill out this information. So for example, this is an important tool when, say you're uploading an album from a wedding that took place 8 months ago and you don't remember who the baker was or the florist, you forgot a couple of those details since it's been a while. You can send this request form into your wedding planner, who may actually have a list of all those vendors and know that information, and they'll be able to help you fill it out. So just fill out their client information, their email, and as you can see, there's the sample text right there, and hit send, and it'll go right to that wedding planner and they can start assisting you with this album. Okay, so you can also edit here as well. I'll delete this one for now and hit next. So here you can tag further for the album. So these are just fun little descriptive tags to help the editors see what is going to be in your album. So if you had different colors, if you knew that it was a summer, so we said that it was a summer one, so I would hit summer here. It could be beach, so I'll hit beach. And if you have more that you'd like to use, feel free. and then just hit next. Okay, so this is your album shell. Here you have all of your information that you just filled out. If you ever want to go back and edit it, what you can do is I'll click out and go to the Albums tab. Click into the album, hit Edit Album, Album Information, and here's those same fields. So what you just added before, if you go back a week later because you forgot the florist and you wanted to add it in, or you forgot, where it took place or something of that nature, you can always go back in and edit it. You can even edit after you've submitted the album. Just remember to do all of those edits and changes before it's actually published by a publication. So, add the information accordingly, tag more vendors if you remember another vendor, and then just hit save when you're finished. Okay. So here's the empty shell. In order to start uploading images, you'll have to hit the Add Images button. And here you can connect to any of our integrations. So we work with Dropbox, SmugMug, Zenfolio, Shootproof, and then uploading from your PC. So if you have any of these integrations available to you, if you have a Dropbox account or a Shootproof account, you would just simply click on the logo, sign into your account, and then be able to select your albums that way. And for today, I'll click on my PC. You can see what happens. You would hit Choose Files, and then you can download straight from your computer. And then let me just go back so you can see, we do have requirements for the images that you're going to upload. We ask that they're 2,000 pixels wide, that they do not have watermarks, that they're JPEG format, and that you can upload up to 150 images per album. So a couple of points here. The 2,000 pixels wide is a really important rule to follow. Our editors like to have higher res photos so that they can scale down if needed. Sometimes blogs are formatted differently, and not everybody may need a high res, but it's always good to give them that option if needed, and then they can scale down. JPEG is important and no watermark, and then up to 150 images. So for when you have a paid account with 2 Bright Lights, you can upload up to 150 images, and we strongly suggest that you upload as many as you can up to that 150. So that way you have a really robust submission and include many different shots that an editor may be looking for. So one point about that, so important shots, I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips here for your submissions. When you're uploading an album, it's important to include a variety of images from the wedding that you were shooting. So everybody knows that bridal portraits and family portraits and shots of the reception are all very important, and your number one job is to please the client. But we also recommend that in order to help your submission along, we know that editors are looking for detailed shots. Editors are writing to those brides and grooms that are planning their big day. So their audiences are really looking to be inspired. So they want to see those details from the weddings that you've been shooting to be inspired and plan for their own wedding. So detailed shots, for example, would be shots of the cake, of a bouquet, the back of the bride's gown, anything of that nature. But we also recommend that you try to include some of the most unique details of that day. So as I mentioned before, it's not uncommon that a couple may be having a wedding and a relative recently passed away, and the bride may want to honor that relative by having a locket with an image of that relative around their bouquet. So making sure you get that detailed shot is a really great addition to your submission. Editors want to see those fun and special details and write about them, and getting those shots to highlight them is important. And then again, once you get those detailed shots, not only is it important to include them in this actual submission, be sure to mention them in your album story. So don't just include that picture of the locket on the bouquet. Throw in a line or two in the album story about why they chose to do that. Was it the bride's mother, or was it a grandmother or something? Give as many details as you can. It really, really helps your submission. So that's basically the album creation in a nutshell. I will just go back to Webinar Jam to see if we have any questions. Let's see. Okay, I'm just checking for questions. I don't see any. So I'm going to continue on in the process of our webinar. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat section. So let's go back to Two Bright Lights, and we will click out to the home screen. So to begin a submission, we start at the Submissions tab. And here you'll be able to see all of your submissions that you have started and have finished submitting. So at the top, there's an important toolbar. It will tell you what album is in what status. So this little airplane means it's in submission. It's been submitted. It hasn't been reviewed yet. It's still kind of pending. The check mark means accepted. So a publication has accepted that submission. This little radio dial symbol means it's published. And as you can see, one here has been published. X means not a fit. Here's all of them. And then the pencil is the draft. So if you started a submission and you didn't fully finish it and you hit save, if you want to come back to it, just hit on that pencil and the draft submission will pull. So to begin a submission, hit the Create Submission button. Choose the album that you would like to submit. So I will choose this one. And here you will see all of that important album information. So the client info, so that would be the bride or groom that you've been working with. The album story, so you can input it here. The tags, and then any vendors, and how many images that you had. So be sure to click this important button here, hit next. And here's where you get to pick the submission. So this is the fun part. You finally get to pick those publications. You put in the hard work in the beginning of it. You upload your images. You included all the important details. So now you get to choose where you actually want to submit this album. So let's start at the top. Here you can choose the exclusivity period for your publication. So non-exclusive means that it's a publication that doesn't mind where your materials and your submission has been. So say you have a wedding that you published on a blog, on your blog, on somebody else's blog, it's been around in a couple of different publications. That is an album that you would submit to a non-exclusive, because non-exclusive publications don't care if other blogs have featured that work. Exclusive is a publication that wants content that is exclusive to them. So content that hasn't been featured anywhere else, including your own photography blog or vendor blog. So they also include exclusivity periods. So most exclusive publications have a 1 to 6 month period. So that means once you submit to an exclusive and an exclusive publication picks up your album and agrees to publish it, they will ask that you do not submit that material anywhere else to non-exclusive blogs or publications for a set amount of time. So if you submitted to a publication that had an exclusivity period of 6 months, from the time that it is published in that publication plus 6 months, after that time, you can then go ahead and resubmit that album to as many non-exclusives as you feel appropriate. So once you submit to an exclusive, you are unable to submit again to an exclusive. That's a one-time thing. But exclusives, feel free to submit as many as you feel appropriate. But we do recommend that you submit to 5 to 7 maximum, since nobody likes to feel like the last pick in gym class. So publications can see where you've submitted to, and if you have a list of a lot of publications, they'll be able to see that you've submitted it to a lot, and they'll kind of feel like it's not as special if they publish it. So I do see one question. Oh, okay. Chrome in front of the whole screen. So can you see it? Oh, yes. Sorry, guys. I'm having one technical difficulty. Okay, we are back in action. All right. Thank you, Megan. That was Megan, our manager of Two Bright Lights, helping me out. So we're back, and we are in the submissions process. Let me just find my page. Here we go. Okay. So as I covered, we have exclusive versus non-exclusive. You also want to indicate if you are going to submit to a print or web publication. So if you know that your publication is in print, if it's a magazine, go ahead and select print for a filter if you feel that's necessary, or click web for the same thing. If you know it's a web publication, go ahead and choose that filter. So now you can scroll down and you can see all the publications that are available for submission. Click on the ones that you feel you want to submit to. Okay, so we'll just pick a couple. And so here's one. Many can be location specific. So Berg Brides only wants submissions from Pittsburgh. So this would be a Cape Cod wedding, so it would not be a fit for them. So I'll hit cancel submission. So you can go ahead with these, that's fine. If you have an album that's another category and you're not seeing the one that should be pulling up here, simply go to engagements, family, parties, whatever fits it accordingly, and you'll see those publications pull as well. Okay, so I'll hit next. And so this is the last part. This is the part where you include a message to the editors. It's really important, and it's often overlooked because you spent all this time uploading your photos and you've inputted those important details and you've selected the publications and you just want to hit submit. We totally get it. But this message is really a standout piece for your submission. It's kind of the last pitch to these editors to tell them why they should pick your your submission, sorry. To include those important details, to include something you may not have included in the album story. Really any piece of information that you think can help your submission stand out to that editor, include in this section. So since I would be submitting to multiple publications, you can personalize the note per publication. Just click on the title, and then you would type in the note here, hit save, and then hit submit. If you wanted to save this as a draft, say you forgot a piece of information and you wanted to go back and add it later, hit save as a draft, and it will save in your submissions page where that pencil icon was, and you'll be able to go back and add that information and hit submit again. So that's pretty much the submission process in a nutshell. I will pause here for a second to see if anybody has any questions. Let's see. So I'll just wait 1 minute to see if anybody has any questions about submitting, or ask for any tips or how to upload images, anything of that nature. I'd be happy to answer your questions. Okay, so I'm going to finish up our webinar. So I want to show you guys how to go to the request tab and go to the community tab. Just a couple of other more housekeeping items in Two Bright Lights, but they are really important tools to help you make those submissions stand out and really become a rock star submissioner. So let's hit the request tab. Here is a live feed of all of the requests that are coming through Two Bright Lights. So as you can see, these are publications that are looking for specific things in submissions. So if you can see Low Country Wedding, they're looking for real low country weddings that have been shot in Myrtle Beach area. And you can expand it, Georgetown, can't say these places, in the last 18 months. So you can see the description here. You can see that they're a non-exclusive publication. You can see, let's see, their due date and when they were posted, the location, category, description, and publication. So all of that important information is listed here. And here's a little feature. It's the flag feature. So say you're scrolling through the request tab and you wanted to save a couple. You thought these would be really great for you. You have an album that's a great fit for what a low country wedding is looking for, but you're just not ready to submit yet, but you want to save it. So hit the flag icon and it will save that request later and you can filter accordingly. So since I hit that one, I'll hit a couple more so we can see what this will look like. Okay, and then you want to filter and just see the ones that you flagged. You can hit filter, flag, and here they are. They pulled right up here. And you can also filter by policy, publication, or category. So say you wanted to submit an album that's already been to an exclusive, so you're only looking for publications that are non-exclusive to resubmit that album to. So hit non-exclusive, and it will filter all of the requests. Let me remove the flag filter so you can see. So here are, I'll just refresh the page. Oh, I can hit clear. Okay. So hit filter, policy, non-exclusive, and there you go. It filters all of the non-exclusive publication requests, and you can choose that way. So that's pretty much the request tab in a nutshell. I will move on to the community tab. And here's where you can really do the research for your publication. So hit the community tab, hit browse publications. So I want to back up a little and explain why this is such an important tool. The browse publications allows you to find all the editor profile pages. So as you can see, these thumbnails will lead us to each publication's profile page. So one thing that we recommend in 2 Bright Lights is to really research publications ahead of time. So that way you know who you'll be submitting to and why. Do you have an album that really fits what the bump is looking for, or a low country wedding, how they're looking for those weddings specifically in Myrtle Beach? If you can spend that time ahead of time looking at the publication, seeing what types of photography they're looking for, their styles, you can really cut down on your submission time and make your workflow a little bit more efficient. So that way when you're on the submission page, you're not kind of sitting there guessing who should you submit to, who would this be a fit for. You know, and you have a list and you can just go right in and select them and submit. Many of our photographers work in this manner and they say that it's a huge time saver, and they just can really target their submissions that much better. If they know who they're submitting to, they know which blogs and publications are looking for their type of photography or their style of photography, they save time and they have a higher success rate because they're submitting albums that those editors are looking for, and everybody wins. You know, you win because you're submitting to a publication that's more likely to accept your work, and then the editor gets to win as well. They're getting submissions that are fit for their publication and what they're looking for, and they don't have to waste a ton of time going through submissions that aren't a fit for their publication. So it's a win-win to do that research up front, and this is one of the easiest ways to do it. So if you hit the Browse Publications tool, and you want to search for one, so how he asked. I'll just search by how, it's a little easier that way. Click on the thumbnail, and you'll be brought to their publication profile. So here they've listed their contact email, when they were established, what they're looking for. So they're looking for engagement photos, since they are primarily a publication that posts about proposals and engagements. They have that explained down here, what they're looking for, their response time, their publication time, all of that important information. And then it also lists out their policy type, their blog, their URL, and what categories they're looking for. So let me pull out and go to another publication because I want to show you guys the feature down below. So let's pick the knot. I know they have this filled out. Okay, so if you scroll down, here's a really nice tool called the Portfolio tool, and it's a great sample of all the types of photos, that the knot is looking for and what they've published in the past. So if you take a certain style of photography and you're not sure if it's going to be a fit for the publication, we recommend that you go and look them up in the Browse Publications tool and scroll down to their portfolio section and look at their sample of images, and do your photographs match their style? If they do, then great. We recommend that you submit to them. You know, as you can see, the knots are a little bit on the light and airy side. They like natural lighting. If you're more of a moody style photographer, chances are that your photography may not be the best fit for them. But don't worry, we have over 400 publications. I'm sure that there are many publications that will fit your style of photography. And being able to look through the Browse Publications tool will only help you target those publications and find the publications that are looking for your style of photography. Okay, and as we showed before, here's the different tabs. The Knot has 20 publications, so they have a lot, but they specify the exclusivity types and the media type below in each of their tabs. So for the Knot.com, they're not exclusive, they're a blog, but for their print magazine, they're exclusive. So they have exclusivity of 6 months and it's print. So all of that important information is here in the Browse Publications tool. And it's really one of the best tools that you can use to target your submissions and have a higher success rate of getting published. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and check at the questions and make sure I didn't miss anything from anybody. Okay, it doesn't look like it, so I'll wait one more minute. Please feel free to submit any of your questions. I'm happy to help. So I'll start to wrap up. I hope that I was able to answer any of your questions that you had and go through the whole submissions process and the album creation process, all the important tools that you need to get started with Two Bright Lights. We're here to help anytime you need it. Please feel free to email support@twobrightlights.com, and either me or Megan, one of us, will answer you and get back to you as soon as we can in terms of any questions you may have with the system. If you're looking for any tips or you're not sure if a publication is the right fit for you, any questions you may have, please feel free to email us. That's what we're here for. We also recommend that you follow us on social. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. We post a lot of great material on those pages, especially on the educational side of materials. So we just started a new webinar series in which we will have guests on our webinars, and they will talk about how they use Two Bright Lights, what they've found to be successful on the site, what they've found not to be successful, all of those really great tips from your peers. So check back on our Facebook pages, on our social, to see when those things will be happening. We also have a blog, which you can access from the home page. At the top right corner, there'll be a tab that says blog. If you click on that, we do have an educational section of the blog in which we include all the interviews from those guests and tips and tricks that they've learned along the way. So we have a lot of great materials for you guys to help get you started and help figure out how Two Bright Lights can fit into your schedule and workflow, and we're here to help. So it looks like I don't have any more questions, so I'm going to wrap up. And like I said, if you have any questions about this webinar, we knew it was a little glitchy with the tech. We sincerely apologize, but we really appreciate that you guys attended. We're glad to have you. And any follow-up questions you may have, please feel free to email us at support@twobrightlights.com. So thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.